All right, let's start with the story. So Donald Trump has been inaugurated back into the U.S. presidency, the ultimate comeback for a man who lost the 2020 election but never stopped pushing for a return to power. Well, he's pledged to be a peacemaker, to tackle the border crisis, and has called a national energy emergency focus. Our correspondent Caroline Malone joins us live from Washington, D.C. Caroline, good evening to you from our side. I know it's still afternoon for you. And a busy 24 hours it has been, not just for all of you that have been watching this inauguration take place, but also for Donald Trump. Talk to us, I think, firstly, before we get into reactions, what we've seen him get up to over the past 24 hours.
I mean, he has been getting right down to business, wasting no time, signing many executive orders that could potentially and already having an impact on many aspects of life, both in the United States and for people also trying to get into the US, for instance, on the border security, shutting down any asylum applications that would be happening either online, any apps that were used for people to make asylum applications, or even at the border. So you've now got queues of people who were ready to come through the border to the United States, had made appointments for an asylum application, and now stuck on the Mexican side, for instance, on the southern side of the border. So that's a hugely important outcome from what Donald Trump has already signed on Monday and Tuesday. We've also had some, reaction to that as well. And we're hearing now as many as 22 states, so nearly half of all US states, their attorney generals are suing the Trump administration to effectively try to stop them from withdrawing birther rights. The birther rights essentially means that if you're in the United States, even if you don't have the right paperwork to be here, if you're what Trump calls an illegal immigrant, if you have children born here, those children should have rights here according to the birther law. That's part of the Constitution under the 14th Amendment. But Trump has signed an executive order against that, and now you've got nearly half of the states trying to sue him. So look, what we're seeing here is already a huge legal case that is being set up between the likes of President Trump and people who want to better support immigrant rights.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, 24 hours and already 22 states wanting to take legal action against the president. That's, that's a drastic start, certainly to a presidency. At the same time, though, that's not just the only sort of legal challenge that Trump already facing. We saw as well Elon Musk becoming a big talking point, and we're not going to, focus on the gesture, but also let's talk about the Department of Government Efficiency already also seeing some legal challenges. Talk to us about exactly the issues that are being raised there with the federal transparency rules on disclosure.
Absolutely. So this department came about under the suggestion of President Trump in the last few weeks. This Government Efficiency Department, as it's been named, to be led by Elon Musk and originally Vivek Ramaswamy, but the suggestion is that he will no longer be part of that particular department. So mainly Elon Musk to lead this, to try and cut government spending, to try and create efficiencies. At one point, there was a suggestion that they would look to reduce spending by up to $500 million. So serious amounts of money that we are talking about here. At one point as well, the group have suggested they were only doing telecom concerns, focusing exclusively on telecom IT concerns. However, you've already got now here, as you suggest, some legal pushback from groups saying that this is not compliant with the law because it's not transparent, because everything that the federal government and the agencies have to do needs to be transparent because they are acting ultimately on behalf of the public. And it's not clear enough, so people are sort of proactively almost creating these challenges from a number of different federal agencies to make sure that whatever they do decide to do is made clear and transparent. Clearly some concern here over how cutting kind of government spending would impact everyone's ability to do jobs. Even civil servants concerned about their jobs right now because President Trump has already spoken about trying to insist that all civil servants get back to the office. There's been, no room given for any kind of remote capacity, which is how a lot of different agencies do operate and makes people's lives easier in a lot of cases. Also, the suggestion that their jobs and their roles would have to be, re-looked at with this idea and concern coming about that President Donald Trump and his administration might try to replace some civil servants with people who are more loyal towards him rather than based off of their job credentials.
Yeah, that's interesting because you're talking about government spending, and at the same time we've also heard President Donald Trump talk a lot about tax breaks, right? And I'm keen to hear what the reaction certainly has been coming out of that inauguration around the points that he's made around taxes.
Absolutely. So taxes have been, a huge selling point, really, for Donald Trump throughout his campaign. His talk of reducing taxes, making life easier for people in the United States, helping to improve the economy. That's a message that absolutely resonates with people here. But in particular, what we've heard in the last couple of days is this idea of the United States withdrawing from a corporate tax agreement. Around 15% is something that was agreed upon with European countries, although not enacted on the United States side. We're also hearing from Trump this idea that he will reduce taxes on, or increase rather, taxes on other companies who are levying fees against multinational corporations in the United States. So essentially, taking retribution for any companies that make it harder for the US companies to do business globally. I think in terms of the motivation for this, we can certainly see from his inauguration crowd how important the tech sector is to Donald Trump. We know, of course, about Elon Musk, but many other big names were present at the inauguration. And we know that Donald Trump in particular has favored doing deals, doing business, trying to, make money as he sees it for the United States. So I think we can expect that reducing corporate taxes is part and parcel of this type of agenda that President Trump has to ultimately make it cheaper for corporations to do their business.
Yeah, certainly an eventful 24 hours for the 47th President of the United States. Caroline, thank you so much for the update. Caroline Malone, their FSN correspondent, speaking to us live from Washington, D.C.